Radical.
All right, I got too much to say about the NBA playoffs to this point, so I'll try to focus in on some of the games that I actually watched. Or specifically, actually, last night I watched one game, most of one game. I go over to Stremendous.com, and yeah, there's some annoying pop-ups you have to deal with, but for the most part, I can watch the game stream, and I think it might have been on TNT or something like that. I have TNT. But I watched most of that game. And briefly, before I talk about the game that I watched, I will say the Suns don't look as dominant as you think they would look. And by the way, side note, the 76ers almost freaking lost a game because Harden got ejected. But we'll focus on, like I said, the Warriors and then the Kings. But I want to briefly talk about the Clippers and the Suns. As we listen to the background, some bad English. I never heard of bad English, but apparently it's some band members from Journey. I'm charging $5 for this CD. I mean, damn, it's heartbreaking to deal some of these CDs and sell some of them because I listen to them and I'm like, Bad English is fucking amazing. This is an amazing CD, Yeah, but that's the choices you make when you're a flea marketer. Sometimes you hold on to some, you're like, okay, I will sell it. But the biggest story of the playoffs, I think, has been Westbrook, man. And there's a lot of big stories around the playoffs, but I think it's Westbrook because he's actually not playing like Westbrick. There was one game, I think, game 2, he nailed all of his free throws. 8 out of 8, 100%. Last night he had 30 in a close loss to the Suns where he picked up the slack because they did not have Paul George, he's injured, and they didn't have Kawhi Leonard. That's another story of the playoffs, Kawhi's availability. It's already tough to get him available during the regular season, but you think you'd have Kawhi Leonard all the playoffs. But no, last night he had a sore knee, so he did not play. Westbrook, man, if you have a bigger turnaround, I'd like to see it from the beginning of the season with the Lakers to right now. He is a crucial piece for that Clippers team in the playoffs. And who thought you would have ever said that about Westbrick? So I'm really glad to see that. And even though he was 3 for 19 in that first game, he had a key block at the end of the game. And I will say game 2 and 3, from what I saw of 2. I'm just pretending like I'm following all these games, but I'm really not. I just wish I had the time to. But from what I've seen, what everyone said, Westbrook is really kind of redeeming himself. They're still probably going to lose, but it's not going to be on Westbrook. It is not. A lot of people blamed the Clippers and their struggles with him early on when he first got to the team. But hell, I mean, if you're going to blame anybody for the Clippers losing with all that potential, blame the fact that Paul George is not there and Kawhi Leonard is not there. Kawhi could have played in that game, at least a little bit, and maybe they wouldn't have lost by just 5 points. And the Suns are looking good, but not super dominant. So the Clippers arguably maybe the deepest team here in the West in the playoffs. That is a deep team with a deep bench. Also, Memphis Grizzlies have a deep bench. See, I can't limit it to just one game. I think I titled this my thoughts on the Kings and the Warriors, but no, I can't limit it to that. The Lakers lost a game to the Grizzlies, and mostly I think that was due to the fact Anthony Davis only scored 13 points. You need a little bit more out of Anthony Davis. And that Memphis Grizzlies team, if looking back on the series, if the Grizzlies win that series, the Lakers are going to be kicking themselves that they did not beat the Grizzlies when they did not have Ja Morant. I think they might have been missing another player also, but no, they should have finished and closed that out early before Ja Morant comes back. So I'm not predicting the Grizzlies winning that series, but if the Lakers do lose that series, then that's probably what they'll look back on game 2. Okay, so now we get to the Kings and the Warriors. The Kings were lighting that damn beam. They were lighting that damn beam, but this beam, I think the batteries fell out of the flashlight. They didn't have any batteries in the flashlight. It looks like a completely different team in this game, game 3, than 1 and 2. Now, you could say it's because they weren't at home, and the Warriors at home versus the road are incredibly dominant. I think it's the most drastic difference between a home team, home and away losses, is the Warriors. They tend to win most all their home games and lose most of their away games. Now, the Kings are actually statistically a strong away team, but not this night. Not this night. Curry had 36 points. That's the stat that really kind of sticks out to me. I was watching that whole team. Looney, probably the second best reason they won that game, even though he had just a couple points, he had 20 rebounds. He was hustling for that ball, giving them a lot of second chance points. Moses Moody had some really, really nice dunks. Wiggins, I saw him with a couple threes. Poole, I think, played a little bit better. I think Poole had not played better early on in the series. But yeah, mostly the credit goes to, I think, Looney and Steph for this. Also, you can't forget Dante DiVincenzo. There was one series where he hit a three, and then he stole the ball and then went in for a dunk. He scored 5 points within a matter of seconds. And I'm looking at this team, right, and I'm noticing that they didn't have Gary Payton Jr. They didn't have him, and they didn't have Draymond because Draymond was ejected. And I might have a secondary upload on why he was ejected. I might, because that's one I kind of need to. Maybe I should upload that before this, but I don't know. I'm just all over the place. Like I said, there's too much NBA news to really talk about right now that I'm really invested and excited in, other than, gaming news or whatever that shit is anyways. But I would say, same thing. Looking back, if the Kings lose this series, then they're going to look at this game right here. Because not only did they lose, they never led in the entire game. They were down, I think, at one point by 24 points. They never led. It just looked like they just did not have the same hustle that the Warriors had. There were plays to where Warriors players were on the ground and they weren't passing the ball. They were just patting the ball on the court to another player. They wanted it. They were hungry. And my prediction is that the Warriors will win Game 4. Past that, I don't know. It'll be fun to watch because, the Kings are still a great team, but this might have shook the Kings. This might have shook them, and they might wind up losing this series. But I want to know, a lot of you that follow the NBA, who are some of your favorite teams right now? And who are some players that you think are big standouts right now? Who's the player of the week? Some people may be pointing to Westbrook. Some people pointing to Booker because, wins count more than losses. Booker's been playing amazing also. It's just a joy and a treat to be really following these games. And it's just incredibly fun for people like me who follow the NBA.